Today's little story is going to be about how special education kids can be an exception to a lot of things. Well, I'm, for one, can relate to that, because after, I hate to say this, but my mom's been my fighter since. And I had been told in, uh, early part of elementary school in first grade that I wasn't going to get a high school diploma. My mom was like, no, she's getting her high school diploma. So that's what we went into. And then, okay, so, move forward about a year from there, which was the year of 2000, 2001. That was our school year. That's when we decided, you know what, we had to move to another school because of our, the district, So what happened was I met a special education teacher there. She was a really good help. Like, oh my gosh. Sorry, my hair's up in my eyes. I'm gonna fix that. There. And what it was, her name is Miss Dardar. Well, she was a Robertson when I had her. And what happened was, when my mom met her for the very first time in that school, she like, oh my gosh. It's kind of like, it felt like an answer to prayer situation, because my mom did not know how to handle me. She tried to do most of it herself, and what it was, I had teachers in Southdown give up on me. Then when I moved to Coteau, it was quite the opposite. They didn't. So then again, my teacher, Miss Daughter, and my mom, they meet for the first time, and she told Miss Daughter that of the prognosis, that it was a negative one, and that I wasn't gonna make it, and to see my high school diploma, and well, to actually get it, if you want to know, to earn it, to get it. That's the way I will put it and word it. So, and then again, she kind of like, no, we're not giving up. She's going to see that diploma. And so we had to kind of start from the basics. Having to do basic math, having to do basic spelling, and all that stuff. And then so we kind of got to know each other for about 2 years at that time. So fast forward about 2 years. We had a little bit of a problem with the LEAP test. And so we had a little problem where a lot of kids failed the LEAP test. And for the ones in Louisiana, if you were in the early 2000s or so with education, that was the test you took in 4th grade, and I believe in 8th grade takes it again. You take it in 4th, and you have to also take it in 8th grade. So what happened was, I was so upset that I felt like I beat myself up, like rocking my head against the wall, and saying that I failed the test. I was just so upset. And my mom was like, she goes in, she calls the school and says, hey, may I request a meeting with the teacher? And she did pretty much just that. And we took, she I was in another room at the time, and my special education teacher and my mom talked about what was going on, you know, and how could we handle it. So yeah, my first teachers were in Koto, if I get to the point. I met Miss Dawkins and Miss Darter. The second year was, I have to believe, Miss Toops and Miss Darter. You know, one of them changed her name so many times, but first name was always Veronica. Yeah, that's. So by the time I got into fourth grade, I had the first time I had Miss Rochelle and Miss Fazio, and well, and Miss Darter, because she got overlooked everything because of IEP stuff. You gotta have a special education teacher, or else we will be in some very serious trouble. But we weren't. So I remember there was a time after that, and I was with her for math or something. Then she pulled me aside and said, "Hey, you're not the only one who failed that test." And she knew there were some kids that, besides me, that had been placed in a predicament like that. And it wasn't new to her, you know. So surely enough, we did not go to summer school that year. Also, I went to summer school the year before that, and I think it was the time before I went to second grade, I went to summer school for that year too. But we did not go for summer school for for that first year of fourth grade. We didn't, because it would have been too much to have to retest again. So instead, my mom and I said we're going to take a, uh, a gap here, like a grace period, a grace time, you know, what we call it. So once we made the decision, and then it's the summer right before I went in the second year in the fourth grade, and I was in Vacation Bible School, because knowing the fact I go to Vacation Bible School every year when I was a kid. That's what the Baptists, the Pentecostals do, pretty much. So I happened to run into Miss Fazio over there, in one of them, and she had me that first year, pretty much. And she knew what happened, pretty much. Like, straight out, she knew. Like, there was just no hiding from that point. And she's like, the minute she talked to my parents at family night, she's like, you know, she wanted to make sure I was going to be in her class for the following year. So, I think it was God's will that I was in her class twice, really. So, yep, so the kids were an exception in that case. And I went into Miss Lynette's room that very first day or so, or because the school started in August for us. And she asked a question and saying, how many of you have been in the fourth grade for the second time, or how many of you are in the fourth grade the second time? And she knew, besides me, that there's maybe like one or two other people that she knew about too that had something very similar. So with the grace period been around and about, I've got to meet Miss Giordano, and Yep, and I saw her today at Target. And my mom asked, well, like, if she was a teacher or not. I was like, yeah, Mom. She was my teacher during the second time of fourth grade. And I asked her, and teacher remembers Miss Lynette Fazio. And yeah, because I told her, yeah, I had Miss Lynette twice, pretty much. So that was for that year. That was 2003, if I can remember correctly, around the dates. 2003, 2004, and I remember it was about the end of the year in 2004. We did the lead test again, and they were trying to suggest summer school. And my mom was like, no, we're not doing it. She went and kind of, because we were doing band testing at the time, we were doing, I wanted to be in band the following year. I wanted to get into music. And the thing was, my mom took it a step further. She went to talk to the band teacher. She went to talk to the superintendent of schools, which I don't remember his name, but anyways, I think it's Richard. But anyways, and she also went to talk to the principal, the special ed teacher, everybody involved in the game here. And what it is that we did, because most kids like me would have given up on receiving the high school diploma by now. It would just been decided that it would be best with a certificate of achievement. And what happened was my mom was kind of that fighter. Say, no, I don't want that. So what happened was we kind of socially promoted to 5th grade, and we just kind of been on. I was in band, and what we did, we tried to integrate into regular educational classes with special education, special instruction, or inclusion. If we tried to do it slowly into the matter. And what happened was, when I was in 5th grade, and I started band, and that's when that started. It was after the band test, after selecting the instrument, and I kind of chose percussion. So what it was, I had 5th grade in some classes, 3rd grade in some others. Like, I had my reading, my English, my math in 3rd grade level. And what it really was for some of the remainder classes being math, science, social studies, spelling. No, wait. Social studies, spelling, and science being in the 5th grade. We had to have had special. I had to start overlooking all of that, because that way she can watch over how I'm doing in those classes, where am I making progress, that sort of thing. And thank goodness she was there that last year, that she was there. And yeah, so I remember being an exception, because they never had a whole lot of kids being put in situations like for inclusion and all that stuff. But I happened to be the one that they tried on, pretty much. And it took a lot of fight. It took a lot of screaming and hollering and saying no. Yeah, and actually, parents being hard, but then again, they teach me to be a go-getter, and that's what it is. So by the time I have gotten to the end of 5th grade, I was like just finding out the news that I was going to get a new special education teacher because my teacher was leaving to another school in the parish. So it was quite a mix-up that time. So we didn't know what was going to happen. And what happened was, I got into 6th grade. That's when I met Miss Terry Petrie and she was Miss Ryan back in the time, and Miss Reeves, Miss K. Reeves. What happened was, they had a teacher in there, special education, and she kind of didn't know my history, pretty much. So I had to tell my mom everything and say, Mom, I don't know how I can make it that year. Without Miss Darter, it was just being a constant mess. So she had to go to the school at some point, speak with a special education teacher, help me get on the right track, education-wise. So what happened was, I was supposed to have been on a 4th grade level on some of the classes, but I ended up jumping to the right level with everybody else, with English and math being the only subjects that I needed help in, which wasn't bad, not even. I also had to have a little bit of reading help too, but hey, that wasn't bad. So we were able to do that, plus keep band and other things. And I'll tell you one thing, without band, I wouldn't be where I was. And without God, I wouldn't be where I am now. So there it is. It took a lot of fighting to get where we are. And a little bit unfolds after each time. And so, it also escalated to high school, because I remember, there were some tests in the high school area that, the graduate exit, the GE exam, which that's what they're called, but I was struggling in some subjects passing those components. So my mom was like, no, we're gonna. And my SPED teachers, they watched every move I made. If I failed the test, if I passed it, they watched it like a hawk, pretty much. They even watched my classes to make sure I am on the right track, which, frankly, I'm glad they give me a talking to if I need it. So what it was, we had scheduled meetings with the team at HL, saying, hey, we need to consider what is my other option. We weren't just going to walk out with certificate of treatment at that point, because we already decided the high school diploma was the best answer and the best chance of life, and I was glad to have that chance of life, pretty much. So we had to sign off and say, look, we're doing Law 2. And it got to the point we were finding out also that I was behind on the LA4 core, which is the straight to university path. So my mom's like, we're going to basic core, but I realized that I was able to get into college at that rate. I was able to start in Fletcher, luckily. And I was able to have a job and so much other opportunities with either one of them, basic core or LA4 core, that I was able to do much more, It makes me really thankful for that, the choices, the exceptionals, because I saw some friends in my high school graduation that they walked with a certificate of achievement. A lot of them did. And I kind of was the exception of a lot of kids that you know, obviously the parents made a choice back in the day that we weren't going to go this route. Not even ever. And I'm glad my mom did what she did. She fought them head on. She also had faith in God. And that faith in God carried me through everything I've been through. Even in my past and even in my future, present and future, you know. I couldn't have a better answer for everything. Because only God knows everything I've done. Everything I've been through. And everything is going to happen next. So I really hope you really see this as an example of hope here. Because, you know, I know I should write a book about this one day. Who knows?